Good morning and welcome to another episode of Drew's Book Reviews. So, I decided to do this next review a little bit differently. We're going to break it into four parts, covering Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind by Yuval Noah Harari. So, this book basically is all about the history of humanity, the history of Homo sapiens, and their interaction and how they dealt with all the other Homo or human species that once existed, our eventual survival as the only human species left, and how we progressed from that stage of development to where we are today. So I decided to do it into four parts because the book itself is split into four parts, and I'm learning a lot from it. Really enjoying everything about it so far. And I felt that this would be a good way to do this and kind of break down this book and what I'm learning from it. So part one is the cognitive revolution. So first of all, I just kind of want to start out and break down for those that maybe don't know basic understanding of how the animal kingdoms are divided up. As far as classification, their animals are divided into genus and species. So Homo being the human genus of animals, and sapiens being the species. So we are Homo sapiens, which literally means wise man. Sapien meaning wise, and Homo meaning human. So we've basically named our own species the wise humans. Kind of, self-indulgent if you ask me. But it's interesting to learn that. I mean, I didn't know beforehand that sapiens meant wise. And that is something that I find really interesting as far as what I've learned from this. And of course, the meaning behind the other human terms or human words, such as the Homo neanderthalis, literally means man from or human from the Neander Valley. We have Homo erectus, which literally means the upright man or the man who walks upright. Homo soloenus, which literally means man from the Solo Valley. So learning all these different types of humans, I guess the best way to put it, and what their names actually mean. One of the quotes from this book that I found really interesting, and kind of puts it into perspective, I guess. It says the Earth 100 millennia ago was walked by at least 6 different species of humans. It is our current exclusivity, not the multi-species past, that is peculiar, and perhaps even incriminating. As we will shortly see, sapiens have good reason to repress our memory of our siblings. I thought that was really interesting. I kind of put it in perspective. You don't really stop and think about that, about how we are exclusively the only Homo species left, or really how unique that really is. When we think about all the other species of animals out there, all the other genuses of animals out there, we are really unique in our exclusivity. It seems to be more of the exception and not the rule, as far as the animal kingdom goes. So that was really kind of helped put things in perspective a little bit. And definitely taught me something. I never really thought about that before. So Yuval Noah Harari seems to have this really good way of kind of putting things in perspective and giving an idea about things and putting it in a way that we never would have thought before. And that to me is just really fascinating aspect of the writing style and the information being presented. It really kind of puts things into a new perspective for me. I'm really enjoying that aspect of it. Another unique feature of the Homo genus, which we have discovered and learned, is this idea that our brains are unusually large for the great apes or animals in general. The average brain, or most mammals, of 60 kilograms or more, I've learned through this book, have a brain that covers about 200 square or cubic centimeters of space, whereas the Homo brain, from all Homo species, including our own, have a range of 600 to 1400 cubic centimeters of space within our brains. So we have an unusually large brain. And it seems specifically within the Homo sapiens species, I've learned, we use, or we traded at some point, brain power for muscle power, using 2 to 3 times as much energy to power our brains as other species of mammals and other species of great apes specifically. Kind of put that in perspective. I love the way that it puts this, is that we might be able to beat a chimp or a chimpanzee in a philosophical debate or a debate of any kind easily. But that chimp can tear us to pieces with their brute brawn and muscle strength. That is really a great way to kind of compare the two. Is relatively speaking, humans are weak compared to the other ape counterparts. So some of the other aspects that this first part of the book covers are these ideas as well behind what happened to the other Homo species. Why did they disappear? Now, there's some evidence to suggest there might have been some interbreeding between the species, but there's also some evidence to suggest that it was a genocide brought about by the Homo sapiens against other species of humans that would have caused their eventual extinction. So there seems to be competing theories, but at the same time, there seems to be some evidence for both, which, again, awesome, and a reason to believe, it's reasonable to believe that both happened, that there was some interbreeding, there was some genocide going on there, but overall, just some really fascinating theories about what happened to the other Homo species. And also, the book talks a little bit about this ideal group size for survival as part of this cognitive revolution, which brought about this impressive brain power and the ability to survive in rather large groups of people. Now, how the cognitive revolution within the human ancestry helped bring about this idea of working together more effectively. That's kind of a key component, because typically a group of about 150 people is good for survival, as it's been shown in past studies and whatnot about what the optimum group is for overall cooperation. Anything more than that in cooperation or working together can become very problematic and not work out very well. But because of the cognitive revolution, Yuval goes on to explain, we've been able to create these fictitious stories about ourselves, which serve to bond and unite us in much larger groups. These fictitious stories regarding like religion and the idea of money and that kind of thing, which ultimately are just human constructs, human ideas. And there's even some evidence of early religious or socio-political codes that had come about in early human prehistory based on what appears to be some burial traditions of certain individuals and things like that. And it is because of that cognitive revolution that we're able to tell ourselves these stories and kind of come up with these fictions to bind and unite us together into a much bigger groups of people, to the groups of millions even in our biggest cities, to effectively work together more effectively. This cognitive revolution also brought a fundamental understanding of being able to control things like fire, which eventually led us to be some of the most destructive invasive species this planet has ever known. Uh, and it kind of goes over a little bit as well some of the things that we brought along with us when humanity spread to other places like Australia, like New Zealand, like North America. And following mankind's appearance, there seems to be this massive die off of local species of both plants and animals around that same time. So it seems, based on this evidence, that humanity has been a key contributor to the extinction of so many species across the planet, with the first settlements being thought to have existed as early as 45,000 years ago, and eventually the invasion of Australia shortly after that, and then New Zealand, and then going north up through Northern Europe and Russia, and the Arctic, crossed through into North America, and just everything seems to be going great for humanity, but not so great for the local animal life that seems to die off shortly after mankind's arrival. So that this first part about the cognitive revolution just covers a lot of the prehistory and what happened within that prehistory. Really fascinating read. I'm loving it. I'm learning so much from this book. Definitely, I'd recommend it. Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari. Check it out. So far, I'm really enjoying it, and I'm looking forward to discussing part 2 with you, which is the agricultural revolution, which took place shortly after the cognitive revolution. So I'm looking forward to that. Part 2, agricultural revolution, coming up next. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Until then, don't forget, keep on reading. We'll see you next time on Drew's Book Review. Have a good day.